Welcome all to 2015 Sunday service opening session. Kindly ensure that all your cell phones are switched off and the cars are parked properly in the designated places. If not, kindly do it because we don't want interruption during the program. We'll start the program now. Om Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityor ma amritam gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace.
Nami Dvesharago
Of Swami Vivekananda, Volume 2. The lecture delivered at Los Angeles, California, January 8, 1900. The topic, the powers of the mind. All over the world, there has been the belief in the supernatural throughout the ages. All of us have heard of extraordinary happenings, and many of us have had some personal experience of them. I would rather introduce the subject by telling you certain facts which have come within my own experience. I once heard of a man who, if anyone went to him with questions in his mind, would answer them immediately. And I was also informed that he foretold events. I was curious and went to see him with a few friends. We each had something in our minds to ask, and to avoid mistakes, we wrote down our questions and put them in our pockets. As soon as the man saw one of us, he repeated our questions and gave the answers to them. Then he wrote something on paper, which he folded up, asked me to sign on the back, and said, "Don't look at it. Put it in your pocket and keep it there till I ask for it again." And so on to each one of us. He next told us about some events that would happen to us in the future. Then he said, "Now think of a word or sentence from any language you like." I thought of a long sentence from Sanskrit, a language of which he was entirely ignorant. "Now take out the paper from your pocket," he said. The Sanskrit sentence was written there. He had written it an hour before with the remark, "In confirmation of what I have written, this man will think of this sentence." It was correct. Another of us who had been given a similar paper which he had signed and placed in his pocket was also asked to think of a sentence. He thought of a sentence in Arabic, which was still less possible for the man to know. It was some passage from the Quran, and my friend found this written on the same paper. The conclusion of all these extraordinary powers are in the mind of man. This mind is a part of the universal mind. Each mind is connected with every other mind, and each mind, wherever it is located, is in actual communication with the whole world. Have you ever noticed a phenomenon that's called thought transference? A man here is thinking something, and that thought is manifested in somebody else, in some other distant place. With preparations, not by chance, a man wants to send a thought to another mind at a distance. And this other mind knows that a thought is coming, and he receives it exactly as it is sent out. Distance makes no difference. The thought goes and reaches the other mind, and he understands it. If your mind were an isolated something here, and my mind were an isolated something there, and there were no connection between the two, how would it be possible for my thought to reach you? In ordinary cases, it is not my thought that is reaching you direct, but my thought that has got to be dissolved into ethereal vibrations, and those ethereal vibrations go into your brain, and they have to be resolved again into your own thoughts. Here is a dissolution of thought, and there is a resolution of thought. It is a roundabout process. But in telepathy, there is no such thing. It is direct. This shows that there is a continuity of mind, as the yogis call it. The mind is universal. Your mind, my mind, all these little minds are fragments of that universal mind, little waves in the ocean. And on account of this continuity, we can convey our thoughts directly to one another. You see what is happening all around us. The world is one of influence. Part of our energy is used up in the preservation of our own bodies. Beyond that, every particle of our energy is day and night being used in influencing others. Our bodies, our virtues, our intellect, and our spirituality, all these are continuously influencing others. And so, conversely, we are being influenced by them. This is going on all around us. Now, to take a concrete example, a man comes, you know, he is very learned. His language is beautiful, and he speaks to you by the hour. But he does not make any impression. Another man comes and he speaks a few words, not well arranged, ungrammatical perhaps. All the same, he makes an immense impression. Many of you have seen that. So it is evident that words alone cannot always produce an impression. Words, even thoughts, contribute only 1/3 of the influence in making an impression. The man, 2/3. What you call the personal magnetism of the man, that is what goes out and impresses you. Yes.
Good morning and a warm welcome to all of you. We have Swami Brahmarupananda today with us, who will be speaking on the power of thought. To say a few words about Swami Brahmarupananda, he is a minister at the Vedanta Center of Greater Washington, D.C. He joined the Vivekananda Monastery and retreat in Ganges, Michigan in 1984 and studied under the guidance of Swami Vaishyanandaji. He took his monastic vows in 1987. He has lectured on Vedanta, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and conducted spiritual retreats in the United States, Canada, and Trinidad. He also leads study groups on the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Bhagavad Gita, and the teachings of Swami Vivekananda. Now I would like to invite Swami Brahmarupananda to come and give his.
As is customary in our spiritual tradition, we start with the Vedic Shanti Mantra. Om Tatsanyora Vrunimai Gatam Yajnaya Gatam Yajnapataye Daivi Swastirastuna स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु भेषजं शन्नो अस्तु द्विपदे सञ्चतुष्पदे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. We pray the Divine Lord for His blessings so that we may be able to sing His glories and chant His names during worship ceremonies and sacrificial ceremonies. May there be plenty of rainfall at the right time so that medicinal herbs can grow and diseases can be cured effectively. May all human beings be happy. May all animals be also happy. May all beings be happy in this whole world. May there be peace in our hearts. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. And may there be peace everywhere in the whole of nature. Good morning, namaskar. I am very, very happy to be here amidst you this morning to share my humble thoughts on this topic of the power of thought. The relationship between our thinking, what we think, the thoughts in our mind, and our personality, our well-being or otherwise. That is what we want to understand a little bit. It has been known from the scriptures that what we think determines what we become. All our thoughts, our speech and actions leave an impression on our mind. These impressions keep on accumulating. What we are at this present moment in our lives, happy, unhappy, ill or well, ignorant or knowledgeable, whatever it is that we are at this moment, is the sum total of all the impressions that we have been gathering for a very long time. Not only in this life and in previous lives also. My personality, what I am now, what you are seeing in front of you, this personality, I have sculpted my self-impression by impression. If I am unhappy, nobody else is responsible. Nobody can do me good or bad. Everything is my own creation, my past, my present and future. In his Raja Yoga book, Swami has nicely explained the relationship between our thoughts and the impressions our actions and speech leave on our mind and our lives. I'm going to read a short passage from the Raja Yoga, pages 207 and 208. Every vicious thought will rebound. Every thought of hatred which you may have thought, even in a cave, if it is stored up and will one day come back to you with tremendous power in the form of some misery here. If you project hatred and jealousy, they will rebound on you with compound interest. No power can avert them. When once you have put them in motion, you will have to bear them. Remembering this will prevent you from doing wicked things. We know this. Our thoughts have a powerful influence on our personality. If somebody is always harboring thoughts of anger, jealousy, bitterness, hatred, all of that shows up in that person's body and mind. The diseases caused by such wrong thinking, they are psychosomatic diseases. There may be some physical reason, but the mind, the thoughts in our mind, they have a deep effect, profound effect on our well-being. The mind is never quiet. Our minds are always very active, except on deep sleep. Even in dream, our minds are very active. The constant stream of thought is going on non-stop in our minds, in our waking state and in our dream state. And these thoughts are not generally well organized or in any particular sequence or order. We let our mind flow freely to harbor any kind of thought whatsoever, but randomly. Flashes of old experiences, events that happened yesterday or 20 years ago, or even earlier, or any time in between. Conversation I had with somebody, and my modified replay of that conversation, I should have said this, I should not have said that. All of those things are in our minds in some, not in any particular sequence or order. I should have done this 20 years ago. I should be doing this now. I don't like what I am doing now. All these thoughts are constantly occupying our minds, filling our minds. At any given moment, the mind of an ordinary person, there are exceptions to this. At any given moment, our mind is a confusing collage of all kinds of thoughts, changing every moment, not in any particular sequence or according to any logic. The powerful relationship between our thoughts and our personality has been mentioned in many scriptures. For example, in Chandogya Upanishad, yesterday Professor Ramurthy quoted a very powerful sentence, not a Mahavakya, but almost like a Mahavakya. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. No, the continuation of that same statement which comes in the 3rd chapter of Chandogya Upanishad is Atha Khalu Kratumayah Purushaha Yatha Kratu Asmin Loke Purushaha Bhavati Tatha Itah Pretya Sakratum Purvi. The word Kratu has several meanings and difficult to translate it exactly into English. One meaning of Kratu is some kind of Vedic sacrifice. Some kind of Vedic sacrifice called Kratu, but that is not the meaning. The Kratu means, here in this context, what we deeply believe in, our convictions, we can say. It says, Kratumaya Purushaha. Just as in the 17th chapter of the Gita, Sri Krishna said, Sardha Mayoyam Purushaha. Sardha means almost same as Kratu. Sardha means not your faith that we usually use to translate. Sardha means our deeper feelings, deeper beliefs, deeper convictions. Sardha Mayoyam Purushaha. Person is what his faith is, what his, not faith, what his convictions are, what his deep beliefs are. If I am thinking I am a very unhappy person, this happened, that happened, then I will be unhappy. I make myself unhappy. If I remain calm and pleasant and practice acceptance, happy, then I can be happy. So what happens in my mind is what determines my personality. Kratumaya Purushaha. Yatha Kratu Rasmin Loke, as we think in this life, Purushaha Itah Pretya Putha Bhavati. After we leave this body and take up another body, then the same trend will continue. In the Ashtavakra Samhita, incidentally we all know that Ashtavakra Samhita was the text that Sri Ramakrishna had Swami Vivekananda read in private, behind closed doors. There is a very powerful statement saying exactly this. This shloka comes in the 1st chapter of Ashtavakra Samhita, chapter 1, verse 11. Mukta bhimani mukto hi baddho baddha bhimanyapi kim vadanti satyeyam yamati sagati bhave yamati sagati. As my mind, so my destination. Gati means destination, go wherever we are going. Gati. Yamati sagati. Mukta bhimani mukta. If a person thinks I am free, then he is free. Baddha bhimani baddha. If a person always thinks I am bound, I am weak, I am sinner, then he will be bound, he will be a sinner. What we think is what we are and what we become. Therefore, Yamati Samati, that we should remember. Ashtavakra says, as one's mind is Yamati, as our thinking is Sagati, so is our destination. We make our own destination, we make our own lives. Almost exactly the same thing Sri Ramakrishna said in the Gospel. In the Gospel, New York edition, Nikhilananda Swami's edition, page 138, this is the passage. Bondage is of the mind and freedom is also of the mind. Seems to be a translation of Ashtavakra Samhita shloka. A man is free if he constantly thinks I am a free soul. How can I be bound? Whether I live in the world or in the forest. I am a child of God, the King of Kings. Who can bind me? By repeating with grit and determination, I am not bound, I am free. One really becomes soul, one really becomes free. On the same page, 138, Gospel, Sri Ramakrishna says, if a man repeats the name of God, his body, mind and everything becomes pure. In the Bhagavad Gita we read the same thing. In the 8th chapter, there Sri Krishna says, whatever thought is uppermost in our minds at the time of giving up this body, in the last moment of our life, that determines or that indicates our future. But what we will be thinking about at the time of our death, whatever we have been thinking about almost all of our time, all of our lives. If all my life I have been thinking about money, stock market and this and that and property, real estate, etc., what will I be thinking at the time of death? Same thing. If I have been thinking about God almost all the time during my life, and then it's very likely that I'll be thinking about God at the time of death. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam jagati ante kalaivaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavita. Whatever thought, bhava means thought, idea or subject. Whatever thought a person keeps in his mind at the time of death, that will be his destination. That is what we read in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, if you want to be or become good people, happy people, successful people, and reach the ultimate goal of life, namely to realize our inherently divine nature, then we should therefore think only those kinds of thoughts. It is in our hands. What thought I am thinking at this moment is up to me. In this moment I can be thinking about something noble, something elevating, enriching spiritually, or I may be thinking of something useless thought. That is up to me. So it is in our hands. In the Chandogya Upanishad, this topic again comes in the conversation between Sanat Kumara and Narada. Yesterday also this came. Sanat Kumara teaches Narada in a series of small incremental steps. At every step, Narada goes back, meditates and comes back. And the highest step he will take. Finally, Sanat Kumara says, Narada was seeking peace of mind. So Sanat Kumara says, Bhumaiva sukham na alve sukhamasti. Bhuman means infinite. That means absolute, only one. Yatra na anyat pashyati, na anyat shrunoti, na anyat vijanati, sabhuma. Where there is no second one to be seen, where there is no second one to be heard about, there is no second one besides itself to be thought about, that state of awareness is Bhuman or infinity, absolute. Bhumaiva sukham, that alone is true happiness, gives true happiness. Alpena sukham asti, all other things, anmartyam tadalpam, whatever comes and goes, anything besides the self, it is small, alpam, alpe sukham nasti, there is no happiness. No matter how many scriptures you study, how much money you make, how much success you achieve in worldly life, whatever you do, they all have, they come and go, they change. They are not dependable. There is no happiness in it. Therefore, Bhumaiva vijijñāsitavya, that woman alone has to be thought about, has to be known, inquired into. There he lives. Now Narada's question is, yes, the highest teaching has been received. I am here at the present level, and I am not anywhere close to Bhuman. I am very much a worldly person thinking about various things. What is my, where do I start? What is my first step? I am here, an ordinary person, but you are telling me I have to reach Bhuman only, then I will be happy or find an unbroken eternal bliss, unconditional bliss. But what is my first step? What do we do now? Tell me what I should do now. It's not a thing. Sant Kumara says something which we have heard. Here says, Ahara Shuddhau Sattva Shuddhihi. The most important thing in our life, daily life, is food, ahara. Ahara Shuddhau Sattva Shuddhihi. If you purify the mind, Sattva means mind. Sorry, if you purify the food, ahara. Ahriyate iti ahara, Shankara says. Whatever is consumed in is ahara, food. If the food is purified, mind becomes purified. Ahara Shuddhau Sattva Shuddhihi. Sattva Shuddhau, if the mind becomes free, pure, if the mind becomes pure, Sattva Shuddhau Dhruva Smritihi. Recollection of the self will be constant. Constantly will be thinking that we are the self, we are not the body, we are not the mind, we are not the sense organs. That thought will be there in our minds constantly. Smritilamhe, when that constant recollection of the self is accomplished, Sarvagranthina Vipramoksha. All the thoughts means K-N-O-T-S thoughts, all the thoughts of the heart will be dissolved, will be broken, will be cut asunder. Person becomes free, totally free. Therefore, where do we start? Purify the food. Now, when we hear the food, our mind goes to the kitchen and dining room. But we eat lots of different kinds of food. Actually, 5 kinds of food we eat. All sensory input that we take into the 5 input sense organs, Jnanendriyas, they are all considered food. Not only what I eat and take to the mouth, that's one kind of food, of course, but there are 4 other kinds of food that we constantly are taking in. Everything that I see is food to the mind, because everything I see leaves an impression in my mind. What I see, I have to choose what I see. I can see good things, good pictures of divine personalities. I can see, or I can see some kind of movie. Whatever I see, that leaves an impression in my mind. So I have to monitor what I see. It is one kind of food that goes through the eyes. What I hear, the sounds I hear, there's another kind of food. The sounds I hear leave an impression on my mind. If I listen to devotional songs and study or reading from the scriptures, then good impressions are formed in my mind. That purifies the mind and ultimately takes me to Bhuman. Or I can choose to listen to any kind of. Nowadays, everybody has some kind of appliance in their hand. I am the only person when we travel with no appliance in my hand. Everybody has something, some iPod or some iPhone or something. All this time, this sensory input is going on. That we have to monitor what I hear, what I see, what I hear, what I touch, what I taste, what I smell. Through all these 5 sense organs, whatever we take in, that is all called ahara. Ahriyate iti ahara. Shabdadi vishaya vijnanam. All these sense objects which we hear, taste, smell, touch and taste and smell, all of those provide food to the mind, and mind gathers those impressions. Everything we take in creates an impression in our mind. Those impressions are, see, sum total of all those impressions, what is what I am now. What am I today at this moment? This sum totality of all the impressions that I have been putting into my mind through all the 5 sense organs, that's what my personality is. So it is in my hands. Whatever is gathered in through perception or even imagination, I need not see something that is concrete. I can imagine something in my mind. That also leaves an impression in my mind. It need not be happening. There may be an object or event or circumstance which may never happen, which may never happen, but I may be imagining it, daydreaming it. All that leaves an impression in my mind. And those impressions shape my personality and determine my future. Yamati Sabati Ashtavakra said. Shankaracharya, in his Vivek Chudamani, he talks about three kinds of distractions, obstructions or distractions that prevent us from knowing the truth. He says, Lokavasanaya janto Shastravasanaya bija Devasanaya jnanam Yathavannaiva jayate. Yathavat jnanam, actual knowledge of yourself as it is, not as imagined. Yathavat jnanam na jayate, does not arise because of three big distractions that keep our minds engaged all the time. One he called Lokanvartanam. Our concern and engagement with worldly happenings, who's doing what, where. Second one is Dehanvartanam. So much concern about the body. What I eat now, what I had for breakfast, review of what I had yesterday. Monday morning means, where did you go last weekend, which restaurant did you eat, where the salad is good, where something is good. Friday afternoon means, where are you going to go, what are you going to eat. All this time, thinking about worldly matters, food, Dehavasana, what I am going to wear, what I am going to eat, what I am going to see. Dehavasana, too much preoccupation with bodily concerns. This is a big distraction, occupies a lot of time and takes up a lot of energy, which we could be channeling to think about divine thoughts, pure thoughts. Lokanavartana, concerned with what other people are doing. So many topics people converse about. Sports and politics and stock market and car and insurance and dress and jewelry, recipes, all these things and so many things people have talk about. That is all creating unnecessary impressions in the minds. Those are not conducive to our purity of our mind. Lokanavartanam, Dehanavartanam, what we eat, etc. Third one is Shastanavartanam. If any time is left, too much preoccupation with scholarly study of scriptures. In the Gospel, Sri Ramakrishna says, in Kali Yuga, much of our life depends upon, our thinking depends upon food. Annagata pranam, Kali Yuga annagata pranam, he says. What is the concern? If any time is left after Lokanavartanam and Dehanavartanam, worldly conversation, worldly topics and bodily concerns, then too much preoccupation with scholarly study of scriptures just for the sake of scholarship. We have to study scriptures. Sri Ramakrishna says that it is necessary to study the scriptures just enough to know what we have to do. The scriptures are like recipe books or roadmaps. They tell us what to do, what kind of spiritual practice to do, whom to approach for seeking guidance, etc. They say that we have to. Some basic things we have to know. Basic scriptures we have to study. Study of scriptures is extolled in the scriptures. At the same time, too much of that for scholarship is also spoken down in the scriptures. In the Upanishad it says, Swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramagitavyam. Swadhyaya means study of scriptures. Pravachana means sharing what we study so that our understanding becomes deeper. When we try to explain something to somebody, our understanding becomes clearer and deeper. So Swadhyaya pravachana we have to do. Na pramagitavyam. Swadhyaya pravachanabhyam. We should never deviate or fail to do Swadhyaya pravachana, study of scriptures and explaining scriptures to others so that our understanding becomes clear. But the scripture scriptures also state, by studying scriptures one cannot achieve Atman. In the Viveka Chudamani, Shankaracharya says, too much and unnecessary pursuit of scholarship of scriptures is of no use in either case. Whether we are seeking experience of the self, Atmajnana, self-knowledge, in that case, too much time on study of scriptures is not useful. Supposing one has succeeded in achieving self-knowledge, then also study of scriptures is useless. It is like recipe book. We have to read the recipe to prepare a dish. But if you keep on reading it every day, then there is no dish. We have to read it just to know what to do. Read the recipe once or twice, bring the ingredients required in the recipe, follow the steps mentioned in the recipe, then we have something to eat. But if you keep on reading the recipe book and don't do anything, then there is no result. So Shankaracharya says in a very nice verse in the Viveka Chudamani, Avijñāte pare tattve शास्त्राधीतिस्तु निष्फला विज्ञाते परे तत्वे शास्त्राधीतिस्तु निष्फला. Shastra means scriptures. Any scripture or Vedantic scripture also. Adhiti or Adhyana means mastery. Shastradhitistu nishpala. Mastery of scriptures is useless. Pare tattve avijñāte. When the supreme reality is not known, no matter how much scholarship we have, what does scholarship mean? Shastra scholarship. The ultimate goal is not being reached. That is of no use. Vijñāte pare tattve. When the Paratattva, supreme truth has been known, reality has been experienced, then what good is mastery of scriptures? Shastradhitistu nishpala. But we have to study scriptures just enough to know what to do and some proper guidance, and then we have to plunge into practice, but only studying scriptures is waste of time. In the Narada Bhakti Sutras, devotional horizons of Narada, he says one has to study and reflect on the scriptures. Merely studying and memorizing is not of much use. He says in one aphorism, Narada says, Bhakti Shastrani Mananiyani Tadudbhodaka Karmani Karaniyani. Narada was a teacher of devotions. Therefore he says, Bhakti Shastra, devotional scriptures have to be reflected upon. Mananiyani, he did not say Pataniyani. Bhakti Shastrani Mananiyani, devotional scriptures have to be read and reflected upon. Manana means reflection. Then, just not enough. Tadudbhodaka karmani karaniyani. Whatever actions are enjoined in the devotional scriptures, they have to be put into practice. They have to be practiced. Otherwise, theoretical knowledge is of no use. Devotional scriptures give us several steps. Prahlada, for example, says Maranam, constantly recollection of God, Kirtanam, chanting the name and glories of God, Shravanam, hearing the chanting of the names and glories of God. Like this 9 steps are one. We have to do some of those 9 steps. If simply we memorize those things, then we don't get any result. That is one thing to be avoided. Another thing that we have to do, to keep our mind always pure and free from distractions which are not good for us, is to keep the mind fixed on the supreme goal of life. Why am I here? We have to ask every day. Every day, why am I here? What is my purpose? What is the purpose of this life? That constant recollection of the goal of life, so many goals of life have been prescribed, that you are familiar with that, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, all those things, we are familiar with that. All those have to be done, but ultimate goal of life is moksha, self-knowledge, atma-jnana, or moksha, liberation, of in whatever way we want to think about it. That we should never lose sight of that one. Even those who are engaged in spiritual life, sometimes we get distracted by what I call collateral objectives. Why have I taken sannyasa? Why should every day I should remember, I should recollect, I should ask myself. The purpose of taking sannyasa is to know God. You don't have to, but it has happened. And everybody can realize God, regardless of whether they take sannyasa or not, monastic life or not. But why are we here? To know God, to realize God. That goal we have. Today I have to do something to move towards that goal. Some step I have to take to move towards that goal. Other things I have to do for daily life. Though we should not neglect our daily life, we have to do. But something we should do every day to advance towards that goal, ultimate goal of life. But what happens sometimes is, other objectives have still more importance and occupy all our attention, energy and time, and in that process, the main goal is forgotten. I'll give an example of how it happens. When Durga Puja or Ganesh Chaturthi comes, what happens? In some places, people start preparing for the public celebration. It has to be done on a very grand scale, neighborhood, so public celebration of Ganesha Puja. Lot of discussion happens, energy and time and resources are spent on the details of the celebration, public celebration. The other neighborhood is having 15-foot tall Ganesha, we have to have 18-foot tall Ganesha in our puja. And they're ready to spend this much money, you have to spend twice that amount of money. Who will do will be the treasurer, will be the president, who will make the decisions, will collect funds, and will do the pandal decoration. All of those details, weeks and months are spent in that one. And in the process of being so busy with the details of all the arrangements of Durga Puja, Ganesh Puja, any other celebration of that nature, the main purpose is forgotten. What is the main purpose? The main purpose is devotion to Ganesha, devotion to Durga. In Bengali, the Bengali is not very good, I am learning now. In Bengali there is a saying, the saying is, Tomar puja sole tomake bole thaki. In our involvement in all the details of arrangement of the puja, Durga Puja, Ganesh Puja, and whatever celebration, I forget the main purpose, which is God. Tomake bole thaki. So that's not good. We should keep in mind whatever else we are doing, we should keep in our mind what is the main purpose, why I am doing these things. That main goal of life should not be forgotten. Now there are a few other things we can do. So I am going to summarize now with a list of 10 things that occur to my mind. List of 10 things. Some of these we have already covered. One thing is, because our thoughts shape our personality, determine our future, we have to carefully monitor what we think all the time. So we should always try to think of good thoughts. How do we do that one? We cannot always be sitting on a retreat and meditating about God, that's not practical. We have to go about our daily life. So how do we always keep our minds engaged in good thoughts. There are several things that we can do. One thing is not brooding over past mistakes and problems and past adversities. Not brooding over past mistakes and problems and past events. Supposing I have done a lot of bad deeds in this life. Now I have determined to change my lifestyle. But those past is weighing heavily on me. That past is weighing heavily on me. If I keep on brooding about why did I do this? Why did I do this? I did this, I'm such a sinner. If I keep on doing that one, how do it help the present? I am spoiling the present moment also. Thinking about the past which cannot be changed anyhow. Past is past, we cannot go back in time and correct what I did. I wish I could do that. Once it is done, it is done. So in the Gita, Sri Krishna says, even if a person has committed, has led a very bad lifestyle, Sudarachara, if it remembers me this moment and the present moment, he will become a pure person, he will become a sadhu. In the 9th chapter, there is a verse in the Gita, Apichet Sudaracharo, Bhajate Mam Ananya Bhak, Sadhureva Samantavyaha, Samyak Vyavasito Hisa. I think that is verse 13, chapter 9. Sudarachara is a person of bad conduct. Apichet, even if I have been a person of bad conduct in the past, now I have realized that is not a good thing to do. Mam Ananya Bhak Bhajate. If I determine to remember God every moment available to me, without thinking of anything else, without thinking of any other distracting thoughts. Saha Sadhareva Mantavyaha, such a person should be considered as a sadhu. Because Samyak Vyavasita, he has taken a good step, made a good resolution to stay on the right track, not to repeat the past. We should say, yes, I have done so many bad deeds, and I will not repeat them. I will not repeat the bad deeds I did before. Whatever time is available to me left in my life, I shall spend that time in thinking about God. That resolution we should make and stick to that one. Otherwise, brooding over the past, this happened, this I did, it is not only it is harmful in two ways. One is it is of no use, puts bad thoughts again, the same thoughts will, what I did, those thoughts will come to my mind, strengthening those impressions. Second thing is it will spoil the present moment, which is very precious. The present moment is very precious. You should not let this present moment slip away by thinking about past which cannot be changed. So not brooding over past mistakes and problems, one point. Another point is preventing the three distractions that Shankaracharya mentions. Lokanuvartana, avoiding worldly conversation. All kinds of conversation subjects people talk about. Even in Vedanta programs, as soon as session is over, they talk about all worldly matters only. So that should be minimized as much as possible. Some conversation may be necessary, but we should examine whether those are useful or productive. Avoiding worldly conversation. Lokanuvartana, what he is doing, what she is doing, what work they are doing, how much, what kind of car they are driving, what kind of dress they are wearing, all those things. Television, all those things. So many things are there to distract our attention in this world. We should avoid them. Lokanuvartana. Second thing to avoid it is three distractions Shankara mentions. Dehanuvartana, too much preoccupation with bodily concerns. What do I eat, what do I wear, where do I go, what movie do I watch, all those things. That has to be minimized. Attention has to be paid to the body, because if the body is not in good condition, you will not be able to do anything. Your spiritual practice will be hampered. In the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali has mentioned 13 distractions that keeps a person from achieving samadhi. The first of them is bodily problems. So we have to take care of the body. It is the main means for dhamma sadhana. But that is not the main thing. It's a tool. The tool has to be kept in good condition. But the tool is not the main thing. Object has to be achieved. Dehanuvartana. Third thing is Shastranuvartana. Too much preoccupation with scholarly study of scriptures and showing off, quoting all the slokas and Shankara's commentary, Ramanuja's commentary, Madhva's commentary, and Sureshwara's commentary, comparing all of those things. What way they are beneficial to us? We have to ask. How much time I should spend on those things? That is another point. Always think on good thoughts, not brooding over past mistakes, avoiding the three distractions mentioned by Shankara. Fourth one is, as much as possible, chanting God's names and glories in the midst of our daily life activities. So we all have duties, some more, some less. Everybody has duties to do. You have to go to work or work in the ashrama or household, whatever. In the midst of that, we have to repeat God's name, chant God's names and glories as much as possible. There are so many ways to do that one. There are so many hymns that we can chant. Sahasranama, like Vishnu Sahasranama, that we chant a part of it every morning here, which is a very good practice. Other Sahasranamas, Lalita Sahasranama, Vishnu Sahasranama, Shiva Sahasranama. A Sahasranama means 1,000 names, list of 1,000 names. There's a speciality of our spiritual heritage. We have innumerable names of God, innumerable facets of God, innumerable names of God. By repeating the names of God, chanting names of God, mind becomes purified. If we don't have time to chant Sahasranama, we can chant shorter lists of names. Ashtottara Shatanama, 108 names are there. If you don't have time to chant Ashtottara Shatanama, you can chant some hymn like Hanuman Chalisa, which is very popular in many parts of India. It is only 40 verses are there. Or Aditya Hridayam. Where our heritage, spiritual heritage, is extremely rich in that sense. We are fortunate. So much wealth and variety of hymns and slokas and stotras, hymns and our scriptures, devotional scripture, you can't find any place else. Vedas have hymns like Purusha Sutta, Narayana Sutta, Sutram, Chanakam, those are Vedic hymns. Those we can chant if we know, if we can. Puranas have hymns. Like the Itihasas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, they have hymns. Mahabharata, Vishnu Purana comes from Mahabharata. Bhishma teaches this to Dharmaraja. Dharmaraja asks Bhishma, what is the best spiritual practice to achieve the goal? Ko dharma sarva dharmanam. So Bhishma teaches them Vishnu Sahasranama that we can chant if we have the time. And Puranas have hymns like Chandi, Devi Mahatmyam, Durga Saptashati, that comes from the Markandeya Purana. Or we can do repetition of mantra given to us by the teacher, mantra japa or nama japa. Or there are so many other hymns composed by innumerable holy people in so many different languages. Like the Brahmarupananda Stotram, Manate Shlokam, Hanuman Chalisa, so many sites in India, different parts of India, have composed hymns to various aspects of divinity in so many different languages. We can chant in any language. Any language is okay. It doesn't have to be only Sanskrit. So chanting the names and glories of God in the next point. Look, variety is there. Doing japa is another very powerful method of purifying the mind. Swami Vivekananda Maharaj, who was the president of the order, Ramakrishna order, I read in some place that in addition to his other duties, he was the president of the order, so much administrative work is there, spiritual guidance has to be given, and he was the first one to collect all these scattered lectures and talks and notes of Swamiji had come probably first edition of complete course of Swami Vivekananda. In addition to all these things, he used to do japa. How much japa he used to do every day, do you know? 145,000 repetitions of japa he used to do every day. When I read it, I thought there was a typo. How many? There is not so much time to repeat God's name so many times in a day, in 24 hours. Then last Swami Sardhavati Maharaj was in Sacramento. Then he said yes, because he was his assistant, Sevaka. So then he said yes, he was able to do it. You cannot do that much, everybody. You can do whatever, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, according to your capacity. You have to repeat God's name. That is a very powerful instrument in purifying the mind, chanting God's names and glories. And we have talked about purity of all kinds of 5 kinds of food. We should be careful about what we watch in television or on the computer screen and conversation, worldly conversation, all those things. Those are waste of time. We should be very careful about what we eat, etc. What we want hear, what we hear, what we taste and smell, etc. And then not dwelling on other faults, not dwelling on other people's faults. This came yesterday also. Not dwelling on other faults is one of probably the greatest teaching of Sarada Devi, Holy Sarada Devi. What happens is, if I think about somebody else's faults, I am thinking about those faults myself, my mind becomes polluted before I can talk about. I have to think about his fault before I speak about his fault. So I am polluting my mind in that process. So we should not do that. But this teaching, this question came up yesterday. This teaching, not finding other faults, has to be taken in context. Supposing your child is doing something wrong, then you should say, I will not find fault with my child. That is not correct. You are responsible to guide our child. To point out the mistake, you are doing it, it's not right for you, nicely. This has to be done instead. So in that case, we have to be aware of what that we are doing. But if somebody else does something else, which I have no concern, I should not worry about that one. Talking about other people's faults is not our business. Keeping the mind fixed on the goal of life, not being distracted by collateral objectives. Even in spiritual life, it is possible to be distracted by collateral objectives. So many big celebrations and projects and writing and traveling and giving instructions to everybody. In that process, my own spiritual sadhana will be left behind. That's not allowed to happen. One more thing is, seeking holy company is a very powerful means to keep the mind pure. Follow only Buddhas. Holy company means the several ways in which it can be done. Ideally, if it is possible, we should spend some time in the physical company of holy people, but that may not be always possible. You can do it as much as possible. But in these days of modern communication technology, there are so many things like Skype and all those medias, all the lectures and discourses are available on the computer, on the YouTube, etc. Through that also, keeping the pictures of holy people in our place of residence. Ramakrishna said this. We should keep the pictures of gods and holy people. Because when you see a picture, that leaves an impression on my mind. So that is one way to put a pure impression into my mind. Seeing the picture of a holy person. Keeping pictures of gods and goddesses and holy people, that is all this was another thing. The last instruction, probably an important instruction, is seize this moment. This moment is the most important possession we have. We have so many things in our life. This moment I have in my life is the most important possession I have. If I let this go, it will never come back. Once one moment is lost, it will never come back. Time is a totally non-renewable resource. If I waste paper, I should not waste paper. If I do, maybe it is possible to grow trees. But if not that I should waste paper. But if I waste one moment, that moment will never come back. Shankaracharya has a very, very nice verse, if I can remember. This moment is the most precious possession in my life. I should use this to the best advantage, not let it go, not waste it. Ayurnashyati pashyatam pratidinam yatikshayam yauvanam pratyayanti lata punarnativasaha kalo jagadbhakshataha Lakshmi stoyatarangabangachakala vidyucchalam jeevitam tasman mam sharanagatam sharanadattvam raksha rakshadhanam Pashyatam, even as we are watching our lifespan, which is fixed, can't be extended. At least so far it has not been possible to extend lifespan. It is depleting. Moment by moment it is depleting. That whatever span we are destined to live, that is going away moment by moment. One moment gone will never come back. Gataha divasaha na punah pratyayanti. Those days that are gone will never come back. This Sunday November will not come back again. Next Sunday will come, but this Sunday will not come. Lakshmi koi taranga ganga chakala. So much effort is spent on making money and spending money. It is just like waves on the surface of water. Taranga koi taranga ganga chakala. Chakala means people. Money comes and goes. But so much time and effort, resources are spent on that one, we have to monitor that one. Vidyucchalam jeevitam. Life passes like a vidyut means a lightning, a flash of lightning. Today we are there, tomorrow we are not there. Therefore, tasmat mam sharanadatam. Sharanada jivara, refuge. Mam sharanadatam raksha rakshadhana. Please protect me. So every moment we have to see, this is my most precious moment. This moment. Next moment is not come yet. I can't do anything about the next moment. Past moment is gone. It will not come back. No use just thinking about what happened in the past. This moment I should take the name of God. If you practice this as many as possible as everybody cannot do everything, of course. Whatever humble way we can practice these instructions, we will be able to keep our minds occupied with noble thoughts, spiritually uplifting thoughts. And as Ashtavakra said, Yamati Savati Bhavet. As I spend this moment, so my destination will be. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts. I've taken a few more extra minutes about